Hi, welcome back to the channel. These are the O-rings in the O-ring kit for servicing your water softener. Okay, and this is what we're going to show you in the following video. There's also a hardware pack that's available to replace various parts that can wear on the water softener when it gets a bit older, and you can purchase them from us. Okay, you'll see me using these parts in the following video. Hello, I'm going to look at the servicing of a time-controlled water softener, which we have in front of us. You can tell it's time-controlled because it has this circle of pins going from 1 to 12. That tells you it's time-controlled. The first thing we need to do before we do anything else is make sure we have the power disconnected. Once you've done that, you'll need to bypass the water softener and relieve any pressure in the valve to avoid any water squirting out when you open any or remove any parts. I can show you how to do that. First thing we need to do is remove the power head, which is this whole section here, and then we can get at where all the water parts are. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is remove the back cover, and we do that by removing 2 Phillips screws, one in the top right corner and one in the bottom left. Once we've done that, we can get at the parts that hold the machine together. Okay, that one off. And then we can see what's inside. We have 3 screws that we need to undo. This one, and this one. And they're all Phillips screws, so you only need 1 screwdriver. You can use a socket if you really want to, but you shouldn't normally need any need for that. The screws are stainless steel, so they won't corrode or rust. Okay. Okay, once we've got those 3 out, we can then tip the power head forward and remove it. Okay, we'll put it out of the way. One thing's worth noting is that this is the motor that drives the whole thing, and if the power's on, when you look at this, there's a little window there and you can see the motor spinning around. It tells you that it's got power to it, which can be quite handy if you're fault finding on a machine. Okay, next, I'll just show you the tools that I'm using today. We've got a small electrical screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver, slotted screwdriver, and a pair of long nose pliers, and an adjustable spanner. Okay, so that's all you should need. Okay, so we've got the power head off now. We can start to have a look at the parts that control the regeneration cycle. At this point, if your water softener is still under pressure, if you've bypassed it, there'll still be pressure in it. If you push this little valve down, oops, excuse me, that will then relieve the water pressure. You'll hear it going out down the tube. Okay. So, firstly, let's show you the brine line flow controller, which is this little brass piece on the side, and then you've got a plastic elbow here. I've loosened the nut on this one already, so it comes off nice and easily. Let's just tip that down a little. Comes off nice and easily. If your machine's old, you might want to have a look at this part. Inside here, you can use your fingernail to pull that out. Inside there is an O-ring, and you can fish the O-ring out and replace it. If the machine's above 5 years old or so, it's a good idea to replace that. Comes in the O-ring kit that you can buy from us. Put a new one in, push it down with your finger, and then you can push that back on top, and that will stop it allowing air in, which can happen when they get a bit old sometimes. Okay, so that's that. Then we have a brine line flow control, which is the brass fitting you can see on the side there. We need to take that out. You need your adjustable spanner for this one. Undo that. And inside it, you'll see there's a little cage, and this is where you need your long nose pliers. Get hold of that little cage and pull it out. and you will see either inside the cage, which I have here, is a flow controller. Sometimes it stays inside the brass body and you need to fish it out. But anyway, once you get it out, make sure that hole in the center is clear. You can use a paper clip to poke through it to clean it out and then give it a wash under the tap. Wash out the brass fitting, and the holder will also need a clean. Once you've done that, you can put it all back together again. Put the flow controller into the holder and put the holder back into the brass fitting. Shown. They're all back together. And when you're putting it back on, remember that the O-ring goes that side. Don't try and put it in that way around. All kinds of problems. Okay, so we've done the flow controller. Now we need to take the other three screws off that are on the top, and then we can remove the top plate. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, these screws are a bit longer than the two, they're a bit shorter than the two that we took out to hold the power head on. Here's the screws that hold the top plate on. Here's the screws that hold the power head on. So don't get them mixed up. 2 for the power head, 3 for the top plate. Okay, we can take the top plate off now. Then we can remove the brine valve. There's the brine valve. Just make sure that it's opening and closing, not getting stuck open or whatever. It's got a nice firm closure on it. Make sure the O-rings are okay. If you see any signs of wear or leaking, it might be worth replacing that, because they don't last forever. They're a consumable part, really. But I would say after 5 or 6 years, you might want to consider replacing it. But obviously this is new one, it looks fine. There's another O-ring inside the orifice that the brine valve came out of. If you put a screwdriver in there, you should be able to fish it out. There it is. That needs to be in place. If that's not in place, you'll get a leak and the softener won't work. So you need to make sure that's there, lubricate it, and put it back in. It just sits in the bottom of that hole. Okay. Right, next we need to remove the piston. Okay, this is the piston. The piston moves in and out that piston cap. Again, it's replaceable parts. If you turn that around like that, you can then push that off and you can replace the piston shaft or the piston cap if you need to. The grey colour is Teflon, which is there to stop it from sticking. Okay, all the parts are available from us. Stick that back in there. Away you go. Then inside the body we have a set of seals and spacers. That's a seal made of rubber. That's a spacer. They're all the same. There's a whole bunch of them inside, which we can lift out. So you take them out, inspect them, make sure there's nothing horrible going on, lubricate the seals, and then put them back. Okay, and when you put each one back, make sure it's sitting right in the bottom and pushed right down all the way around the sides. Then you can put your seal on, then put another spacer on. Each time you do it, just make sure they're properly down. Okay, another spacer, another seal, we'll push it all around, another spacer, another seal, and when we get to the top, when we put all of these in, we should find there's a little ledge left there. We know then that they've gone into the correct depth. There we go. See the little ledge around the side? That looks about right to me. Okay, so now we can have a look at the injector housing. 2 more screws. These are long ones, so you can't get them confused with any of the others. Take them out, and we can remove the whole of the brine housing. Okay, so got a set of O-rings on the side here, 3, 2 the same, 1 different, and then we have the injector cap. You can remove. That's got an O-ring all around the inside of it. And then inside there we have a filter. So you take that out, give it a wash, make sure it's all nice and clean before you put it back in. And then we've got the two injectors, or two parts of the injectors in here, the purple parts on this one. And you undo that with your slotted screwdriver. Take it out. Okay, this is the nozzle. You'll see that it's got a hole all the way through it. You need to make sure that's nice and clear. And then you can take out the part that we call the throat, which is inside. Tip that out. There we go. That's the throat. Again, that has a hole through the center. Make sure that's nice and clear. Give it a good wash and a clean. And then one of the last parts is the drain line flow control. Pull that clip out. You can then pull the barb out. And then inside there, you'll see there's a rubber fitting. Out it comes. Again, it's got a hole through the center. This is the drain line flow controller. Controls the water flow into drain. Give it a good clean. Put it back in. Put your drain barb back in. Put your clip back in. Okay, and that's that bit done. Okay, so next we can start to reassemble this part. We'll put our injector nozzle in. Sorry, that's the throat, not the nozzle. Then the nozzle. Okay, back in. Then we can think about putting this back in. Just for your interest, this is a flow straightener. You don't need to take it out, but if you do take it out, make sure you put it back in the right way. That bit needs to be facing, this bit needs to be facing the inside. It doesn't normally need any maintenance. I'll put that back in. Put the injector housing on. Put the injector cap on. The injector cap goes around this way. There. And we need our two long screws. Not forgetting, of course, the filter. And screwing this down, just get it started, and do the other one. Okay, that pulls it all together. All those O-rings seal up. And starting to get something like back to normal. Okay, now we can put our piston back in. Our retaining plate. Before we put our retaining plate in, we need our brine valve. Okay, put our plate on. And put the screws back in. The screws up. Okay. Right, we can put our little brine line flow control back in. Make sure you don't cross thread it. Put our elbow on. These obviously need tightening up fully with an adjustable spanner. Okay, now we're ready to put our power head back on. It goes through the big hole there, goes in there, and there's a little notch part there that goes into the flat straight part there. It can be a little bit fiddly sometimes. Most often when I'm trying to make a video. Okay, let's see. There we go. You may have to just adjust the piston a little bit. Let's show you. See, the piston needs to line up. There you go. The part with the hole in it needs to fit into that slot. Okay, now we'll put our screws in. Get these down. There we go. One more. In there. And we can just quickly test that by taking it through manual regeneration. All done. Our two screws that hold the back plate on can go on now. Okay, and that's it. We didn't take the manifold off the back here, by the way. There's no need to. You can take it off if you want to. There's a screw on either side and a little clip. You can pull it off, then you can pull the whole thing off. But there's no moving parts on it. Shouldn't really need any maintenance at all. Okay, and there we have it. All rebuilt and ready to go for another couple of years. Thanks for watching. Bye.